So, you're having trouble with chain of memories. I've seen plenty of people on Twitter and Twitch just skip playing the game and settle for watching all the cutscenes on YouTube, which does make me sad because Chain of Memories has some pretty fun and satisfying combat. I think a lot of distaste for the combat comes from the game looking like Kingdom Hearts 1, but playing very differently. But did you know there is actually a way to play Chain of Memories and still have the feeling of Kingdom Hearts 1 combat? This video here is to break down a playstyle I like to call the Beatdown Strategy. Why is it called the Beatdown Strategy? Because it involves having nothing but strong cards in your deck, giving the enemy little to no chance of attacking, breaking your cards, or even sometimes triple stacking cards against you. If this handy dandy guide helps you in your playthrough, please let me know in the comments, and make sure to drop a like on the video. Enough of the intro, let's get into the video. First off, you need to know the basic mechanics of Chain of Memories to fully take advantage of this strategy. The mechanics are pretty simple, so we won't spend too much time here, but I will run through it quickly. Basically, if you attack first with a card with a particular number, for example a 4, if the enemy attacks you with anything below a 4, it will not stop you from attacking, with the exception of a 0, which breaks all cards no matter the number. And anything above the 4 will for sure break your card and cause you to stop attacking. The beatdown strategy is all about not giving your enemies the ability to ever break your cards. By following these steps, you will almost never have to worry about your cards being broken. With that said, at the beginning of the game, for the first couple of worlds/floors, you'll want to make sure to have a deck with attack cards with the numbers 5 or higher. Everything else you'll want to hold on to until you reach a Moogle Shop, as you will be selling them. Yes, including your zeros. But clock, zeros are the strongest because they can break any card number no matter how high the number is. Yes, zeros can break any number, but they can also be broken by any number. Zeros are mainly only useful for bosses when they triple stack against you. Smaller enemies, especially in the earlier worlds, will almost never use anything above a 5 and will rarely never use a 0. But even if they did, you will always have a card that can break their 0 right back, since any number breaks a 0. Zeros in this strategy are completely optional. Personally, I don't like to use them for the reason I just stated, but if you feel you absolutely need them, you can keep them if you like. Personally, I prefer keeping them only until I reach a Moogle Shop, so I can sell them. Which leads me to my next point, Moogle Shops. There are 2 room cards that are your best friends for this strategy, Roulette cards and Moogle Shop cards. Let's talk about Moogle Shop cards first. Moogle Shops are amazing, especially in the earlier areas, because talking to the Moogle automatically gives you 5 free cards and the prices are really cheap. So taking advantage of these prices now rather than later will really help you. Personally, I like to wait to use a Moogle Room card whenever I have around 1,000 Moogle points. With 1,000 Moogle points, that gives you the ability to purchase all 4 of the attack cards and all 4 of the other mixed cards. You'll really never want to purchase the magic or the item cards. Your deck will mostly be attack cards with a few magic and item cards thrown in to help you heal, reload, or take advantage of an enemy weakness. Plus, these card packs are the most expensive and not really worth what you get out of them. A great way to get Moogle points is to hit everything in your sight. There are many objects within each room that drop Moogle points, cards, or HP orbs. Also, take advantage of the Aladdin card. When Aladdin attacks, he forces enemies to drop Moogle points. Make sure to use him any chance you get, even if there is only one enemy. Any Moogle points collected can make a huge difference, and collecting these as much as possible will help you later on for the Moogle Shops, as you'll need lots of Moogle points so you can raise your chances of getting higher level cards. Make sure to collect as many Moogle Shops as possible, as having a surplus of Moogle Shops will really help you in the later game, since getting those free cards can be extremely helpful later on in the game. How do you collect them, you ask? Well, that brings me to the other important room card that I mentioned earlier, the Roulette card. Roulette cards will be your best friend. These cards, after beating a group of enemies, has a chance of letting you enter the Roulette minigame and gives you a chance of winning a card of your choice. I say your choice because the minigame is so easy, you're pretty much guaranteed to win the card you want since the timing is very easy to get down. When in the minigame, you'll want to get a good amount of Roulette cards and Moogle Shop cards. You really only need 1 Moogle card per world since you'll need time to gather your Moogle points to spend. But again, collecting them earlier will make later in the game less grindy since you simply need to just open a room with a Moogle card and get your 5 free cards if you don't feel like grinding for more Moogle points. So now that you are at the Moogle Shop, the first thing you want to do is sell all of your level 4 and below cards, including zeros if you want the extra Moogle points, as zeros are worth quite a bit. You really don't need them since eventually you'll get to a point where triple stacking any of your cards will almost always break your enemy's triple stack. So after you sell all your level 4 lower cards, you'll start buying all of the attack and mixed card packs, equipping to your deck as many high level cards as possible until you reach the cap your deck can hold. If you exceed your card power cap, just unequip your lowest attack cards until you are below the cap. Which brings us to the next thing, leveling up. Whenever you level up, you have 3 options: HP boost, card power, and slights. Most people will tell you slights are very powerful and you should use them for something like Raging Storm, which is very powerful, don't get me wrong. The issue is, 1, this isn't something you can really pull off early on in the game, which is where a lot of people stop playing. And 2, slights don't really help against bosses since most bosses have zeros in their deck, and the wind-up animation and the actual attacks themselves take a minute to finish, in which the enemy has plenty of time to use a zero, which negates your attack and forces you to waste 3 cards when you could have just used them for a regular attack. Personally, I only find slights appropriate when fighting against a room of enemies, as they rarely ever have anything to use against you, so it makes clearing rooms of enemies much easier. So, when leveling up, you'll want to primarily choose card power. CP is by far the best option of the 3 and vital to the beatdown strategy. The higher your card power, the more high number cards you can have in your deck, which is the main point of this strategy. You will really only want to level up your HP when you feel the enemy, mainly the bosses, do too much damage to you, which isn't really a problem until later on in the game. So for about the first half of the game, just focus on leveling your CP, and when you feel you need more HP, you can level it up a few times, but you'll mainly want CP. Remember when I said to sell everything below 5? Eventually you'll have a surplus of number 5 cards you can't use since your CP can only hold so much. After the first 3 worlds, you can start selling all your 5s and start making sure your deck has 6s or higher. Then as you progress, you can sell your 6s to have 7s and up, and so on and so forth, until eventually your CP is so high, you have nothing but 9s in your deck. Having a deck of nothing but 9s will make you extremely powerful against any enemy. Smaller enemies will almost never be able to break your cards, and bosses will have a hard time even attacking you, since the only thing they can really do is triple stack. But since you have nothing but 9s, the bosses will rarely be able to triple stack higher than you, considering you would have all 9s and they rarely if ever use triple 9s against you. Doing this strategy gives the game a similar feel to the combat of Kingdom Hearts 1, where you can spam attack and for the most part without any consequences. Especially since enemies will keep trying to attack you but will fail to do so since lower enemies will almost never have a card to match yours. Hence, the name Beatdown. There are a few quick tips I'd like to mention at the end of the video here. 1. When using item cards like potions, ethers, and elixirs, since they disappear after being used, make sure to use them at the start of a triple stack, since the first card in a triple stack will be unreloadable anyway. And also, try to only use them when an enemy uses a single card. This will allow you to safely use your item card without the worry of it being broken. Even if the second and third card get broken, it doesn't matter since having your attack cards back is more important. 2. When attacking, you'll never want to triple stack against smaller enemies unless you're at the end of a fight or if you just feel like it. Jump attacking when possible is the best option since floor attacking is a bit slower and air attacking allows you to use your cards a bit faster, allowing you to clear out enemies faster. Although earlier levels are a bit harder since the enemies are smaller and keep close to the ground, but it's not much of an issue after the first couple of worlds. 3. I mentioned magic cards earlier. I'd recommend only keeping Blizzard, Fire, and Cure. Anything 5 or higher since there are certain bosses that are weaker to these elements and you can really take advantage of that. I typically only keep 3 Blizzards since there is really only one boss that is immune to Blizzard, and the rest can either take damage or are weak to Blizzard anyway. Still, only keeping 5 or higher since you can sell anything else and use the points to buy more cards at the Moogle Shop. 4. Enemy cards can be really helpful if you're in a bind. Make sure to include them in your deck if you can. They also have some pretty useful abilities like erasing each of your card numbers by 1, including zeros, or stuff like recovering HP over time. Which enemy cards you use is completely up to you. I recommend using whichever card you feel is the most helpful to your situation. And there it is. I really hope this video helped you and makes your Chain of Memories experience a whole lot better. Of course, this isn't meant to change your mind on the game. If you truly just don't like the game, then that's valid, but I would hope you give the game another chance using the tips I provided here. I have given this exact advice to others, and those that have tried it have told me that it's helped them a lot, which is the reason why I decided to make this video for you all. If this video helped you out, please let me know in the comments and please drop a like. You can also follow me on Twitter. I post every day and I love talking to others about Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. You can also follow me on Twitch where I stream every day except Tuesdays and Saturdays at 5:30 CST. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I'm really trying to grow a bit more on YouTube and any support is extremely helpful. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.